All America, all the time. Sit down, buckle up, and get ready for The Dan Bongino Show.
You want to talk about a stacked news day? You got Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche up on the Hill. Hopefully that goes smoothly. Of course, the Democrats will have their anticipated breakdown. You've got renewed hostilities over in Iran. You've got these Democrat socialists, fake socialists of America going out there humiliating themselves. They're fake socialists. Listen to me before we even start the show. This is like getting me going on the mask thing, and it'll derail the whole freaking show, but this is super important. I did Hannity's show last night, did his radio show yesterday as well. Sean was nice enough to have me on both yesterday. And I got Vince coming up later. We're going to do an interview with your favorite morning podcaster again. You hear every couple of weeks, Vince Colonese. And this topic came up. Folks, this is horrendous for the country. I hate the use of full stop, but if there was ever a full stop, this is it. The fact that a bunch of America-hating communists who want to destroy our economy, our political system, your liberties and freedoms is a freaking disaster of epic proportions. It's horrendous. But when you're in the content creation business, they really do make it easy to put a show together. They're just such fakes and phonies and frauds. And they elicit such an emotional, rage response from liberty-loving Americans who are like, correct, you probably feel the same way I do. Like, how can you be this stupid? How can you be this stupid to try to reinsert for the umpteenth thousandth time communism in the United States, where it's destroyed and eviscerated every single thing it's touched? How can you be this freaking dumb? These shows, if you want a little inside baseball, to put together an hour and 20, an hour and 30, hour and 40-minute show takes about 4 or 5 hours if you're doing it right. And I think anyone in the business from Ben Shapiro to Dana Lash to Steve Crowder would tell you the same. It takes a long time. And that doesn't even count their work, the production team's work. When you're putting together a show in this election cycle with this crop of socialist fraud imbeciles who won't even live by the rules, tax the rich. I don't want to pay taxes. Aren't you rich too? Yeah, I'm rich. So you want to tax the rich, yet you are rich and you don't want to pay taxes. To put together a show takes half that time. It really does. It's a tragedy for the country, but it makes it unbelievably easy to produce content because all you got to do is play their own words. I think we should defund the police. What do you want them to use, dipshits? Water pistols? What are you, stupid? You're going to walk in the middle of a gang shootout in inner city Chicago and go, hold on, I got to juice up my mortar pistol. Anybody got a Deer Park? Got a lady coming up later in the show. I think we should have DEI in medical schools. That's a great freaking idea. My appendix burst. I'm going to die of an infection. Hold on, I need to interview the potential surgeon. Sir, what did you write on your DEI statement about your appreciation for various cultures and your hatred for Western civilization? Ma'am, you've got about 30 minutes before you die of sepsis. I need to know where you stand on DEI. Nobody's doing that, bro. Nobody's doing that shit. No one. They're sinos. Sinos? The hell is socialists in name only? They're not really socialists. That's what I was telling Hannity last night. None of these people are real socialists. They all own private property. They avoid paying taxes. A lot of them are really super rich. Guy's like, you want to get rich? You know what a good idea? You know what's a good idea? Go. You did? You would think he was thinking. He's always trying to get me back on track. Folks, we wouldn't be celebrating America 250 if it wasn't for a strong foundation set by the framers. Hamilton built America's financial foundation on the principle of sound, stable money, a principle later embodied by the gold standard. What's the foundation of your savings? Is it gold or something that can be shaken, disrupted, or devalued? Birch Gold Group, I've used it many times. The company I buy gold from has been helping Americans solidify their savings with gold for the past 15 years. They'll help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. Learn how gold fits into your portfolio by texting my name, Dan, DAN to the number 989898. You'll receive a free, no obligation info kit with an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and countless 5-star reviews. Let Birch Gold help build your foundation with gold. Text my name, Dan, to the number 989898. Just check it out. Text Dan to 989898. Message and data rates apply. Thank you, Birch Gold. All right, let's get cracking. I do want to cover this quickly because I have a lot of direct, obvious working experience with acting Attorney General. Hopefully he's confirmed, soon to be Attorney General Todd Blanche up on the Hill today in the confirmation hearing. Of course, the Democrats are just going to bring up all kinds of bullshit because they just don't like the results. Folks, I am never going to stop being a results guy. You want me to get into the emotion? You can be emotional about issues, but I'm not going to be dissuaded from results by emotion. I'm never going to do that's what the left does. Coexist, tolerance, except when it comes to the Jews and Asians that you discriminate against in college applications. They're full of shit. I'm not going to do that. I'm a results guy. And I'm seeing this now too. Well, I've been seeing it for a while with the doomers and the grifters, but folks, it pains me to say this. And it's not you, because I read the chat and I get your emails and your DMs and stuff. I talk to a lot of folks out there. The obsession with just instant gratification over long-term results is starting to filter into the mainstream of the party. And I think it's a mistake because the best results are the ones that are done correctly and take time. I want to show you what I mean. There's going to be pros and cons, people who like Todd Blanche for Attorney General, people who don't. I'm just going to tell you results-wise. I was there working with him when he was the DAG, the Deputy Attorney General. And honestly, the DAG runs most of the Justice Department. Not that the Attorney General is an important position, clearly. But Todd ran the place for the first year I was there in the Trump administration with the Bureau. The results on the border, the historic crime drops, the public corruption cases, the Antifa case, the BLM case, the SPLC case, the Fulton County, Georgia ongoing case, the ongoing cases in the grand conspiracy, the reforms, all of the, United States attorneys who he didn't think were constitutionalists, who they let go and pushed out the door. All of those reforms, all of the changes you're seeing on firearms regulations at ATF, he was the one who pushed through a lot of those. And I think he's the best choice for what it's worth. I do. And I'm just hoping they don't make a spectacle out of this thing today because the American people would love to hear what he has to say. Now, having said that, folks, I don't fall for propaganda. I'm sorry. I listen to it. I take it in. I digest it. I try to sift through it. I use it in the show, exposing it, the left-wing propaganda. And I show you, this is propaganda versus results. One of the things I've seen online, and I don't know if it's a paid campaign or not, but I want you to just focus on results for a second. I want to prove to you right now what you're hearing is bullshit. Is you see a bunch of people out there going the Trump administration has given up on mass deportations of illegals. Ladies and gentlemen, that is just completely, totally inaccurate. It's just not true. You can believe it if you choose to be upset. I mean, I can't tell you what to believe or not. I'm just telling you, believing in something not worth in believing in because it's not true. There was a slight dip in the number of deportations that is now back up to record numbers. It is not because of the administration, President Trump, Steve Miller, the Attorney General, Tom Homan, the border czar, because they have any less desire to rid the country of people here illegally breaking the law. It had a lot to do with the Democrat-enforced government shutdown. But now the numbers are back to record numbers where they have been before. So again, you can say all you want if you want to destroy the Trump administration. Well, they've lost focus on mass deportation. It's just not true. We saw this when we were at the Bureau for the first year. We'd see these things about and you'd be like, that's not, I don't know what you're talking about. That was the best year they've ever had. Did you just make this up? And a lot of people fell for it. Here's Tom Homan. I mean, just anyone you're going to trust on this issue. No one knows the border better than him. Dispelling these myths that they've somehow lost focus on mass deportations. It's just not true. Check this out.
Will this change on vehicle stops lower the rate of deportation?
Nice. And what? Let me address that for me. I'm sick and tired of reading about how the administration has lost their guts with, mass deportations. And do you know, June, last month, ICE arrested more aliens than any month in the history of the agency. So, people say ICE is not serious about this job. Last month, the most aliens arrested in the history of the agency, more than last year. More than when you had the FBI, ATF, DEA, Border Patrol, ICE all out there. ICE by themselves, with their 287G partners, had the most arrests in history of the agency. Now, were numbers down for a few months? Yeah. Why? Because the department was shut down, right? Agents weren't getting overtime pay. They weren't getting travel. I mean, the travel cards were maxed out, so they couldn't travel to operations. The targeting wasn't being funded like it should have been. So the department was shut down, so of course the numbers are shut down.
Again, it's only because I really do. To the men out there, the manpanions, the women out there, love you all. I really just appreciate the truth. What do I say all the time? Don't fall in love with people or politicians, fall in love with results. Tom Homan has never been known as a bullshitter. When there's an issue they have to fix, he goes out and fixes it. If he has to work with a Democrat mayor to get a result, he's going to do it, even though it may not be the popular thing. But he's not going to lie to you about stuff. Folks, I just bring this up not to get into a big prolonged discussion about deportations today at the beginning of the show. It is super important. But I bring it up to show you that when you start sifting through the propaganda and bullshit, a lot of paid campaigns to doom and gloom the administration so you don't show up and vote. Some of it, candidly, is just, disgruntled people who just don't like the Trump administration. Maybe they lost in a primary to him or whatever. It's just bullshit. Go look up what Tom Homan just said. They didn't lose interest in mass deportations. I've worked personally with both of these guys. Not as much with Tom. I typically dealt with my DHS counterparts and Steve Miller on this. If you think Steve Miller and the Trump administration have lost focus on mass deportations, I'm sorry. Please put the crack pipe down. Put it down. Crack is whack. It's not good for you. It's really bad. You could die. Really ugly deaths. Just don't do it. Where's the Michael Jordan? Freaking fly. Imagine these flies follow us from the old house. Remember that? Where's the Michael Jordan? Stop
it. Get some help.
Please, just get some help. It's just not true. Why waste your time burning any energy on something that's total bullshit? Okay, moving on. Because the fight is real. The fight against the Democrat, socialist, communist, tyrant, oligarchs, starvation specialists, mass murderers, because that's what communists are, is real. And it's here now. So if we had, think about it, right? If we have 10 units of energy to burn in a day, whatever, your soul has 10 units of energy. Do you want to waste a single unit of energy on a talking point against the Trump administration? It turns out it's not even real. Why would you do that? This came up the other day. Something happened, and I was chatting with Jasmine and Paula, and we were like, I got all this energy to burn. Do we really want to waste any time on this? And everyone unanimously was like, no, we don't, because it's just stupid. Let's just move it. That's this thing. Mike Johnson, who's the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson has been pretty clear about the threat we're dealing with. Listen, man, again, I know people have beefs with politicians, and that's cool. That's what we do. It's a republic. We argue about politicians all the time. But there's no doubt that members of Congress, the good ones right now, on the Republican side, understand the gravity of the threat. That's why I titled this show today, "They're a Danger to You and Your Family." It's because of this clip. We need more of this. The Republican Party out there, the leadership, the people with microphones, even if you're not in leadership, you're like a John Kennedy on the Senate side who does speak pretty clearly, but is on Fox all the time. We need to speak clearly about this threat from these commies. There's no more dicking around, beating around the bush. We need to speak clearly, just like he did yesterday. Here's where I got the title for today's show, because he's 100% correct. Check this out.
To remove the carceral state, they said. No prisons. They don't want to fund the police. This is not a game. Everybody needs to understand these crazy little mini Mamdanis who are popping up all around the country. They are a danger to you and your family. This is not a game. If they promise you free stuff, there is far more beneath those promises that even some of these people do not understand themselves. And so we are here as the Republican Party to stand on the founding principles of the greatest nation in the history of the world. It is our duty to do that.
Folks, again, I appreciate results. Don't fall in love with politicians. However, I respect the fact that he's willing to speak so clearly on this issue. And I just hope more Republicans with microphones who are out there are speaking in these exact same terms. You don't need PhD, fake experts on political science to tell you that communism leads to death, destruction, murder, starvation, and economic depravity. You don't need, all you need is freaking ChatGPT or Grok. You can look it up. I said this last night, talking to Sean on the Fox program last night. If you want to know what living under socialism looks like, do yourself a favor. If you're really curious, you should be, correct? If you're a Democrat who's not a progressive liberal, but a mainstream Democrat, but's getting ready to fall for this socialist bullshit, there's an example out there of what it looks like to live under the system you may fall for, socialism. You can go ask any Cuban refugee in South Florida. Just go find someone. Friend them on Facebook or whatever. DM them on X. Hey, I saw your avatar. It says you're a refugee from communist Cuba. What was that like? You could ask him. The guy who used to cut my hair, Robert, is a refugee from Cuba. You got to hear his stories. They're horrendous. I got to tell you, they were like depressing. Sometimes I'd be getting a haircut. I'd be in a good mood. I'd leave in a bad mood. These stories are depressing. You could ask them. It's called homework. If you want to know what it's like to, build a coffee table out of like a piece of tree wood, you would probably ask a carpenter, correct? Like, what is that like? You wouldn't ask the PhD in woodworking who's never built a table in their lives, but you won't do that. Reason I bring this up is this is how crazy these freaking people are and why we need more Mike Johnsons with leadership positions and microphones to speak out about the deadly threat from this pernicious, cancerous infection in our body politic called socialism. Folks, listen to me, brothers and sisters. These people are not effing around, man. They are not kidding. However crazy you think they are, they're crazier. I told you, it's the easiest show in the world to put together because all you have to do is play their words. Here's this little socialist group here. They're talking on this like Zoom session or whatever. And listen to me, if you're a Cuban refugee, a refugee from a former Soviet republic living in the United States under communism, if you have escaped the hell, depravity, and starvation of communism and living here, you are their worst enemy. What? No, I'm serious. Listen to this guy in this clip. Talk about how we should bomb LA and Miami because there are Iranian and Cuban refugees there speaking out against socialism. Again, brothers and sisters, I'm just playing their own words. They're a danger to you and their family, and they are who you think they are. At Dennis Green. Check this out.
Seeing the Iranian diaspora, just cheer on their country getting just bombed. What? There has to be an Olympic competition between the worst gusanos in the world, and on the podium, competing for gold, you have the Cubans on the one side, and the Iranians on the other. Just bomb parts of large swaths of LA and Miami. It'd be a better planet for it.
All I'm doing is playing their words. Oh, clearly they're kidding. Are they? Are they? It's not like the Cuban and Iranian regimes in Cuba and Iran have not done that exact thing, killed and destroyed their own people. You think there's not an example for this? Folks, these people are a danger to you and your family. This is not a political race to sit out. The days of the Bill Clinton Democrat Party, whatever, Tip O'Neill sitting down with Reagan with coffee or whatever. I'm not even sure that halcyon days were ever there. I'm telling you, those days are over. I warned you years ago when people would tell me when AOC first popped on the screen, we would get this all, the Guy was here, so was Justin at the time. People would be in the chat, be like, oh man, just ignore her, Streisand effect, you're giving her too much attention. I said, no, we're not. This woman, for as crazy as she is, and she's really not that bright, is very charismatic and understands social media. She understands messaging vehicles. And this socialism message has an appeal to people. It just does. Folks, sharing and free stuff and everybody's going to be rich and get free healthcare. Why would that not appeal to you? Why would that not? We're the party that has to give people the hard answers. We're the party. We have to do the education portion of this. And nobody wants, when I first started this show, I said we should do like a, Bongino Report University on the weekends. And we should do like a show on, the fallacies of gun control and just keep them as like staple evergreen material. And the company I was working with at the time said, I love the idea, but people hate the idea of like a university. They don't want to feel like they're in like a professor's class. I'm like, I'm not a professor, but I got the point. Folks, this is the difficult part. You don't educate your friends and neighbors about the danger ahead, it's going to be knocking at your door. Famous last words are, that can't happen here. No, it can. It can. I'm going to take a quick break, but I think about, I'm going to show you something. I got another one coming in. You think the election fraud stuff? This goes to show you what like a lack of detachment to reality looks like. But I just want to bring this up because if you go back, I'm obsessed with history. Go back and look at, Fort Sumter and the Civil War. How people were convinced, like even after Fort Sumter, like this would eventually simmer down and wouldn't, result in a full-blown war. Some of the initial Civil War battles, people were showing up to watch like it was going to be like a reenactment. And then they were fleeing for their lives. Like, holy Moses, like this is a real, like people are dying. That's how this stuff happens. It's like bankruptcy, as the old adage goes. Happens gradually, and then all of a sudden. That's how countries collapse. We're not letting that happen, not on this show. Quick break and we'll get back to this. Wait till I show you this next clip, too. What does Vince call it? MSNOW? Ms. Now? I think we're going to, Vince calls it Ms. Now. I think we're going to, I like Ms. Now better. We're going to stick with Ms. Now. Hey, let me tell you something. When you sign your insurance policy for some brokers, that's the finish line. A handshake, they get their commission, everything's done. And you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. Well, that's no good. Your business runs all year. So do the gaps and the risks to your business. That's why I'm introducing you to Super Sure. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just buy a policy online. Super Sure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits. Super Sure. At supersure.com, you can access tools like the fine print facts. It translates your current policy into plain English, so you know what's covered and what's not. It's really important. Plus a business value calculator where you can estimate what your business is worth, so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to supersure.com/Bongino. One super agency, one powerful platform. All your policies in one place. That's supersure.com/Bongino. Consult with a licensed insurance provider, producers to discuss coverage options for your specific business needs. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency. Thank you, Supersure. Today's show also brought to you by Berna. I'm asked a question a lot, given the background in law enforcement. Hey, what do you keep in your self-protection portfolio? What equipment do you use? One of my go-tos is Berna. Folks, let me tell you about Berna. It's called Berna, B-Y-R-N-A. B-Y-R-N-A. I have a Berna. They sent me. I have a couple. Let me tell you about it. I trust it. I love it. Berna's less than lethal launcher fires powerful kinetic and chemical rounds that can incapacitate an attacker for up to 30 minutes. Could give you time to get away and to call for help. Berna's new compact launcher is about the size of a smartphone. It's really easy to carry, incredibly easy to use, and there's no background check required. The guys have them too. The Berna CL fires at up to 400 feet per second with serious stopping power, which is designed to help with de-escalation, not devastation. Berna is proudly American, assembled in Fort Wayne, Indiana. More than 750,000 Berna launchers are already in the hands of law enforcement and responsible citizens who want protection without tragedy. If you believe in being prepared and you also believe in restraint, Berna, B-Y-R-N-A, is for you. Go check it out. Go to Berna.com and learn more. That's Berna.com and learn more. Thanks, Berna. Folks, this is what I'm talking about. These people are who. Where can I buy the T-shirts Dan wears? L Barone 105 in the chat. Bongino.com store.bongino.com. Store.bongino.com. Yeah, if you want it, up to you, but store.bongino.com. Thank you, El Barone. El Barone. Sounds like a wrestling name from, right? El Barone. Doesn't it? The old, like, when you put the masks on and stuff. They are who you think they are. Folks, be proud. Like what do I do on this show? Beginning of the show, I hear a rumor out there. President Trump and his team aren't focused on mass deportations. I go out, find a stat, find a credible source. Tom Homan, he's the freaking border czar, he knows. We debunk it. Everybody moves on. We don't stew on it. The left, it doesn't matter how many times you tell the socialists and the socialists in the media that what they're saying is stupid and inaccurate. It doesn't matter if you present to them ChatGPT, OpenAI, Grok, the Encyclopedia Britannica, the government's own numbers. They're just stupid because stupid is a choice and they want to be stupid. Here's what I mean. Ms. Now, MSNOW, has already decided that President Trump's primetime speech tomorrow, in case you hadn't heard, he's going to give one, I believe from the Oval or at least from the White House. And one of the components of it is supposed to be some new information about the 2020 election, which you and I have covered endlessly and all the suspicious nonsense that went on there, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, what day is it, Justin, today? What day of the week? What Wednesday. The speech is tomorrow. What's the day after Wednesday? So Thursday comes after Wednesday, correct? Yeah, he's right. Well, you'll see where he's going with that. Justin just said, pay attention. The majority of Thursdays do come after Wednesdays. Hold that thought, and you'll see where he gets this in a couple minutes. The speech hasn't happened yet. MSNOW and Stephanie Rule, they have not heard it. They've heard none of the information, but they're already convinced that these are baseless charges, and they haven't seen it yet. This is what stupidity looks like when it's a choice. Check this out.
It appears the president is entering a new chapter in his effort to question the results of the 2020 election and potentially sow doubt in the upcoming midterms. A new White House task force is expected to begin releasing documents on alleged and so far absolutely baseless evidence of election irregularities in the coming weeks. That is according to two officials with knowledge of the matter. An acting director of national intelligence, Bill Pulte, will be a part of it. I'm going to guess front and center.
Why not just wait? I'm not playing dumb here like the left. I'm not, I promise. Why not just wait? Why not just wait till after Thursday? Because as Justin said, the majority of Thursdays come after. You know what? We may have to play this clip next. Can you pull that one? Okay, that's really funny, Justin. Sometimes they say stuff, it's not funny, and I ignore it. They don't. I'll be like, ha, 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 whatever. That's funny. Thursday hasn't happened. If you were a journalist with a shred of credibility, how can you criticize a report as baseless that you haven't seen? Folks, Andy, is this like, you haven't seen it. You haven't seen it. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to the Martin County Republican Club and I'm going to try this theory out. There's going to be a keynote speaker, whatever, be Joey Bag of Donuts or whatever. And before the speech happens, I'm going to tap the guy next to me. I'm going, Joey, that speech was terrible. The guy's going to go, bro, that speech hasn't happened. It was bad. He's going to look at you like you're a dipshit because it hasn't happened yet. But it's already baseless. Don't be these morons. The Trump team has lost focus on mass deportations. Actually, they're at record numbers. Why did you say that? I don't know. I heard it somewhere. Well, it's our obligation to kind of look it up, right? I'm not doing that. I swear. I'd rather have no audience than be these bullshitters in the griftosphere podcastistan. To show you evidence. It's coming tomorrow, maybe the next day. Sign up for my super chat. Only suckers do that. Pretty soon, demand information. Here's what I mean. This clip is for later in the show, but this is what it looks like when you say stupid things like the majority of Thursdays come after Wednesdays. It's kind of like saying, the majority of births happen with biological women. The majority? You mean 100% throughout human history? Like that majority? You might as well throw plurality in there next. Check this out.
The vast majority of pregnancies are in women, and I have absolutely no problem with using the word pregnant women. I use it myself.
Has a non-biological woman ever had a baby?
A transgender person can.
That's not a biological woman. Has a non-biological woman ever had a baby?
I would reiterate, we
it's
take
ridiculous.
Care.
I give up. Show's over. I can't take the freaking stupid. Folks, this is when I say stupid. Sayak in the chat. Stupid is a freaking choice. Vince is right. Chatting with Vince in the interview. He's like, You know why this content is so good, so terrible for the country, so good for the U.S.? Because it enrages people, because it's so freaking dumb. I'm sitting here doing the pre-show, and I'm talking to Jasmine. I'm like, you've got to realize when you say dumb shit like this, that the actual majority, like 95% of America, probably more, knows you're Muttley's in the chat. Muttley's mixed with the SIACs, right? This is like, they're laughing at you. They think you're a tool. Why do you keep going down this road? Why? How many times are you going to make the same mistake with the same stupid shit? Defund the police. Nobody believes that's effective at doing anything except increasing the crime rate and getting your ass killed. Open borders. Nobody sane believes that. Men can get pregnant. They cannot. There is no scenario. I am a man. I cannot get pregnant. There is no scenario by which that is ever going to happen in a quadrillion lifetimes. It's not going to happen, bro. Why do you keep saying stupid shit? Because stupid's a choice. Don't ever make that choice on our side, because this is what a movement looks like. This is why, despite the Democrats having the media, academia, the sports world, even some components of the country music world, thought figures and influencers all on their side, we still, the Republican Party and the MAGA movement, continue to perform well in elections. Everybody's against us. It's like that Giphy with, there was a Game of Thrones guy with the sword and all the horse. I think it's Game of Thrones, and the horses charge out. That's you. And yet we're still holding up and winning elections because most people see through this bullshit. Why'd I bring up the defund the police stuff? Because out there in Michigan, we got to play the opponent next. I don't know what they did here, okay? I'm being straight with you, man. I don't know what they did here. First, let's play up. So the Michigan United States Senate race is critical. The Republicans stand a really good chance of taking this seat in Michigan, and we're going to need it to hold the Senate. We're going to need it. The Democrat slate of candidates, all of these goofball socialists, are like, it's like the Jim Carrey, they're like Dumb and Dumber and Dumb and Dumber and Dumberer. They're really that stupid. Here's socialist communist Abdul El-Sayed, who's leading in the polls. This guy could be the Democrat nominee. This is from a couple of years ago. Talking openly about, why do the police need guns? I don't know, to shoot back at the bad guys, you dopies. I'm just playing his words. Just his words. Check this out.
Do police really need to use guns? Do we need as much of a police force? And so if we ask ourselves about how we spend money in the public, where that money goes, where it comes from, we need to make a lot better decisions about investing in the things that root out poverty rather than investing in policing poverty.
It's not funny. You're going to vote for this idiot? This guy's going to be your senator. Why do the police need guns? I don't know, so they don't get dead? Is that ever? Why do they need body armor? Because bad guys shoot at them? In liberal states, you guys run more than any other place? How do you keep falling for this? Because stupid is a choice and you choose to be stupid. What the hell do you want him to use? Foul language? That's real. That's not AI. All right. I'm about to be surprised on my own show. Let's play the original first. So you want to see why this crazy Abdul El-Sayed could be a U.S. Senator from Michigan? This defund the police. Why do the police need guns? Absolute imbecile. Stupid's a choice. Don't take it. Here's his opponent. This is not, this is real. This played last night on Hannity's show. So, you're sitting in the van getting ready for they pull a van up my house, right? And you're getting ready for the hit. And I'm watching this hit, and I swear I thought it was a parody. I didn't think this is real. This is real. This is his opponent, Abdul El-Sayed, running for the U.S. Senate seat in Michigan. Haley Stevens, given one of the most cringe, I don't know if she's trying to be like a fake Newt Rockney on this. This is like the dumbest thing I've ever heard. This is like the Little League coach parody. This is the original. This actually happened. Check this out.
I am going to be working on our behalf. I am going to be telling the stories on our behalf. And you better believe I'm going to be doing it with a little bit of joy, a little bit of enthusiasm, a little bit of energy, and a little bit of stick it to them. Because that's the Michigan way.
Andy's like really creative with the rest of the crew here. I didn't even know what is that? Is this like, that they watch like, Motley's in the chat. I have not seen this, but I said to the guys, I have to fire everyone if you can't do something. I didn't even expect them to do it. They literally did this in like 5 minutes. I mean, that was the actual time window. I hate that word. I said, guys, you got to put something. Justin's like, I got an idea. He's like, do you want me to show? You want me to show you before? No. I said, just don't get me fired or anything. Hey, you fired. It's your own company. I said, so I have not seen any of this, but they decided like this is a very motivational speech, Haley Stevens, and that we all should, because we all need a little motivation. So let's see what they got. Check this out. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Yes, you did. You did. Yes, you did. No one will watch 300 the same way again. I am going to be working
on our behalf. I am going to be telling the stories on our behalf. And you better believe I'm going to be doing it with a little bit of joy, a little bit of enthusiasm, a little bit of energy, and a little bit of stick it to them. Because that's the Michigan way.
I'm snorting. Don't snort when you laugh. Dude, that is epic. Now no one will watch me. There you go.
Bongino
over. Show's over. Sorry, folks. We had one more sponsor, American. Sorry, guys. We're gonna have to refund your money for today. No, that's some Muttley's in the chat right there. That was great. Nice work. They put that together in 5 minutes. These guys are super creative. Good job, Justin. Well done. No one will ever watch 300 again. I'm sorry, we ruined the whole movie for them. Now you see why defund the police, terror group supporting Abdul El-Sayed. Now you see why this guy's you're running against that? Oh my gosh, that was way too funny for this. You can't be doing stuff like that because then I can't get my head. It takes me a couple minutes to once I laugh that hard. And I woke up this morning, I was having like some chest pains and stuff. Not like that, like we're gonna have a heart attack. But now I may just drop dead on the show. Call 911 if I do. Folks, these people are crazy. They are freaking lunatics. They are so unrelatable, cringy, and uncomfortable. Like, criticize Donald Trump all you want. That's your right. It's a republic. You get the point. I've said it 1,000 times. However, there's no more relatable guy than Donald Trump. We played that clip the other day. The guys put together Donald Trump in the McDonald's, like serving fries. Like nobody can pull that off. Nobody can pull that off without some idiot trying to make you look dumb about it, except Trump, because he's just the most relatable. It's ironic. Like he's a successful billionaire with all these different real estate ventures and all these projects he's done throughout his life. You would think like he would be the most remote, unapproachable, cringy guy to deal with because he doesn't. And he's the exact opposite. The Democrats, the pretend party of the working man, they're the ones that go out there and do this stuff. Here's another one, in case you think like I'm crazy. This is the easiest content in the world to produce because you just have to play their own words. Here's Rep. Nydia Velasquez. Now that we've had under Todd Blanche and Homan and DHS, now that we've had this incredible year of deportations and 0 illegal migrants admitted into the country multiple months in a row, what do they want to do? They want to abolish ICE and get rid of them. What's your solution then? Just let anybody who wants to come here ever? The answer is, yeah, it's just their own words. Check this out.
You cannot put a bandage on a system that is fundamentally broken. We must abolish ICE, period.
My 1966 in the chat. says every Republican should be running ads just of Democrats in their own words. Amen, sister or brother. I don't know. I'm just telling you, like, all you've got to do is play their own words. They're freaking crazy people, man. They're crazy people. They tell you. Remember Dennis Green? They are who we thought they were. They are who you thought they were. I love this one, and by love it, I mean hate it. Here's the Democrat Socialists of America. This guy's like the co-chair or one of their leaders or something. They say this stuff openly. Watch him invert history. This show is not a history lesson. I love history. The United States Senate was a compromise made during the Constitutional Convention. The Senate compromise was so that big, densely populated, in many cases, northern states would not be able to impart their will upon less densely populated other states. So what they did was they ensured in the legislative branch of our government that one of the components of the legislative branch, the House of Representatives, was allocated on population because there are more people in populated states. Fair enough. However, some of the smaller states said, well, we can't have the Senate based on population too, because then our votes aren't going to matter. What are you going to get? 7 senators? They said, no, every single state is going to get 2 U.S. senators. Anyone who's cracked open a book, read online, read an article, watched a Netflix documentary about the Constitution, this is not hard stuff, knows that. Watch this socialist guy entirely and completely invert history and make it out like the Senate was founded for the opposite reason, so that the elites could press down upon others the tyranny of the majority. It's the exact opposite. These people just lie to you. Check this out.
Don't see the point of the Senate. Historically, it was meant to serve very wealthy people who owned a lot of land. And that's still a system that we have today, and it's something we would change. We would expand what the House of Representatives does, and make it more actually representative of people who live in this country.
So, would you like to abolish the Senate?
That's part of our platform, and we don't think that's extreme. We think it's a change that would help make this country more democratic.
Thank you. I'm reading in the chat from the History Bust. Yes, Dan, you're correct. I know it's on, and I know I'm correct, because you can go back and just, folks, go to any streaming platform, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Apple TV. They have tons of documentaries. To liberal dipshits out there who can or won't read, you can just watch like a documentary. Just go to put in Constitution, Washington, Founding Fathers. Just watch any show for maybe a half an hour, and you'll see everything you believe is bullshit. The Electoral College was not about slavery. The Senate was not about wealthy people imparting their will on us. It was the exact opposite. It was the exact opposite. That was the compromise. You can look this up, You can read some of the notes people took there, like Madison and others. You can read the Federalist Papers by Hamilton and Madison. You can read this. You just choose not to, because stupid is a choice. And when you listen to them talk and you let them talk, these dumbass socialists who want to take your money, want to put your kids in shit schools, want to give you government-run crap healthcare, when you listen to them, you realize everything they say is an inversion of the truth. And then when you let them talk, ironically, they always expose their own hypocrisy the second the carbon dioxide starts leaving their lungs. Here's this same cat. He wants to abolish the Supreme Court too. No Senate, no Supreme Court, no nothing. I guess it's going to be the tyranny of the majority. And listen to the reason. I'm sorry if you saw Hannity last night. I brought this up. You'll hear it again, but this is super important. I brought this up last night. The reason he wants to abolish the Supreme Court is, man, we can't have a bunch of elites, government elites, ruling over the rest of us. Are you freaking stupid, bro? That's the whole essence of communism and socialism. Did you miss that? Do you realize you just said this out loud? He did. In their own words. Check this out.
The Supreme Court was mentioned as something that we would want more democratic oversight over. And that is important. Right now, whether it's the Democratic Party in power or Republican Party in power, a president can just choose who to appoint that can be there for decades and help make decisions about how our government works. We think that that's not really very democratic, that just the whims of 9 people who are, they're obviously smart people, but they have their own interests. And there's a kind of elitism that comes from just the idea that very especially people who have a certain education or life experience should be making decisions for everybody, and that tends to be pretty elitist. People who go to certain elite colleges or law schools or whatever, and then are seen as experts, but they might not have the same interests, like class interests of everybody.
You realize you just exposed the entire weakness of socialism in your own plea for socialism. I don't think he knows that. What's his name? Ashik Siddiqui. Because if this guy's either really stupid, I mean it. Like, I think this guy's just really dumb, because a better messenger for the travesty of socialism, because there are some people who can sell this. They can sell, like, what do they say, ice to an Eskimo. Some socialists are just really good at this. I'm telling you, like, AOC does really good, like, TikTok type stuff. She's got like 10 million followers or something. You don't get that by screwing around. She's dumb, but she's at least a better marketer for the product. This guy's just an idiot. Socialism is wonderful. We want to abolish the Supreme Court because it'd be really horrible if a group of experts ruled over. That's the whole basis for socialism. And when you rely on experts, ironically, and not a representative democracy where people can vote in and vote out people who make poor decisions, in other words, the power is delegated to we, the people, and the consent of the governed. When you don't have that, you have your product, socialism. When you have experts ruling over people, what you have is what Hayek called the knowledge problem, where a small group of people pretend to know what your housing needs are, healthcare needs, job needs. They don't know you. Experts screw stuff up all the time. Cue up Kevin Hassett. Kevin, this is one of Trump's economic advisors. The inflation numbers came in pretty good yesterday. It's down a lot. I thought the experts told us it was going to be a horror show. Inflation. Experts, right? It's not us that believe in rule by experts, Republicans, conservatives, MAGA folks. It's you, progressives, liberals, commies, and socialists. That's your thing. That's your thing. Remember Tommy Boy? That's your thing. Some of you will get that. That was Tommy Boy, right? The Chris Farrell movie. It was one of them. I'm always terrible at movies. That's your thing. Here's Kevin Hassett on the inflation numbers. He's like, 67 of 67 experts screwed it up. This is why we don't do rule by experts. We do rule by elections, which should be free and fair. Thank you. Check this out.
Sure, energy prices have come down a lot, but everything else is going down too. And I think that's why, if you look at Bloomberg, they surveyed 67 economists, and 67 economists got it wrong because they didn't understand that it wasn't just about energy. It's about all these other things that President Trump is doing to cut costs.
Why did they get it wrong, folks? Why? Folks in the chat, help me out. Here's a little quick educational tip. Experts, no matter how smart, are limited in their scope and knowledge. Pick the greatest brain surgeon in the world. I'll give you one of them, Ben Carson. We all know his name, Dr. Ben Carson. Dr. Ben Carson is got magic hands. He's been able to do things surgically no human being on planet Earth's been able to do, because he's a genius. Would you ask Ben Carson to change the oil in your car? That's a stupid question. No, it isn't. You would not. Because his expertise in the field, although unmatched, brilliant, and a good and decent human being, he's not a mechanic. So what does an expert in government economic statistical manipulation of economic data know about your Jiffy Lube business? The answer is Jack and shit, and Jack left town. They don't know anything. That's why they constantly screw stuff up. That's why we don't rely on experts to lord over us like the socialists want. We rely on people we vote in, and if they don't do what we, as a collective population, vote for, we vote them out. Happens every 2 and 4 years. In case you think I'm making this up about the inflation numbers, because I believe in data, when they popped the last quarter a little bit. We were pretty candid about it. Now they're down. Everyone all of a sudden on the left is shut up. Inflation's out of control. Now we get numbers that are there. No one wants to say anything. When they go up, we talk about it. Go back and look at the show because we're honest. We're not morons like these people on the left. The inflation number was down dramatically. That's why it was negative, down. Okay, for the liberals listening. But it was more negative, which is a good thing. You want it to be down a lot. Here's CNBC, again, no right-wing network. Like, hey, man, these numbers were actually pretty good. Where's the left on this? Where are the experts now? Check this out.
This is our June release of the Consumer Price Index, expecting a headline number to be negative 0.1%. This is 4 times more negative, minus 0.4%. That would be the biggest negative drop that we've seen since 4/20, since basically COVID timing, which really affected, of course, all of the inflation data points. So that goes back basically 6-year low. And if we look at the CPI month over month on the core, also under expectations, comes in at goose egg, 0. 0 would be the smallest amount. It would equal Jan of 21. To find a smaller change or a more negative change or minus 0.1%, that's May of 2020.
Man, how did 67 of 67 quote experts get it all wrong? Because they don't know anything about your life, your buying decisions, your healthcare, your education, your economic needs, your housing needs, your rental needs, your property needs, your transportation needs. They don't know. They've never spoken to you. They will never know. That's the reason we insulate ourselves from the tyranny of quote experts. And we vote for representatives. It does not mean these representatives are always going to be smart either. Sometimes you get people up there, especially on the Democrat side, but on the Republican side too, that are dumber than a box of rocks. And you'd actually take an expert who's probably not that smart about your life, but is smarter than these idiots. This was Capitol Hill the other day. Here's this lady who said, what's her name? Monaco, whatever. Who the hell cares? Dominici? I don't know. There's this congresswoman up on the Hill talking about DEI in medical schools. Folks, this doesn't take an expert to figure this out, okay? DEI in medical schools is a joke, but it's a tragic one. You go in there and need emergency surgery for something. You are not asking the doctor, like, hey, man, give me your take on like critical race theory. Just save the person's life. If there was ever an example outside of like airline pilots of a needed meritocracy, absent any confounding variables, it is this. In medicine, air flight, people driving you in the car, someone who can't drive, you can be, oh, well, they fit the DEI criteria. Listen to this exchange up on Capitol Hill. Nobody does this in their personal lives. Nobody asks for a DEI doctor over a competent one. 0 people do this except up on Capitol Hill. Check this out.
As we discuss the future of the medical workforce, we should acknowledge that diversity, equity, and inclusion in medical schools, that's not something to be criticized or blamed. Coursework that focuses on the social determinants of health, including patients' racial backgrounds and socioeconomic status.
Okay, nobody's doing this, Susan Bonamici. Nobody's doing this. That sounds Italian. Is it a maiden name or married? I don't know, but stop with it. Just like, don't pollute the Italians with this stupidity. Nobody's doing that. The difference with the tyranny of experts in a communist system is you can't escape them. They steal power and they never give it up, and there are no elections. You think Putin was elected? Putin was selected. You think Kim Jong-un and Kim Jong-il and all the... You think any of them were elected? The difference is we can listen to Bonamici and go, well, that's kind of dumb. And stupid people will vote for her and others won't. This is what a good one looks like, though. Brandon Gill is one of my favorites up on the Hill. Again, don't fall in love with people, fall in love with results. However, this guy brings the results all the time. Ayanna Pressley, clearly one of the dumbest people up on Capitol Hill. She wants to push this Equal Rights Amendment bill. So Brandon Gill asks her a really simple question. I got to tell you, this may be one of the greatest self-S-E-L-F, not C-E-L-L, self-owns I've seen up on Capitol Hill in a long time. Brandon Gill asks a really simple question about the Equal Rights Amendment she wants. Sounds great, equal rights. Everybody wants equal rights. Equal rights like for women? Well, I got a question about that. This is great. Check this out.
And that is why I've introduced legislation to add the Equal Rights Amendment as the 28th Amendment, enshrining it as the law of this land.
I'd be happy to look at your Equal Rights Amendment and read through it. I guess my biggest question was, does it define what a woman is? We'll take a look at it. I just was hoping for some analytical clarity, but thank you. We'll take a look at it.
Yeah. This guy just keeps throwing touchdowns, man. The guy just keeps throwing. He's like a gunslinger. Guys like Brett Favre in his prime, just like launching it at like 400 miles an hour. How did those receivers on the Packers, their hands even stay? He's just a gunslinger up there. Yeah. I'll take a look at it. Does it define what a woman is? Motley's in the chat. No, I didn't. You notice she says nothing because she realizes she's been boxed into a corner. Just like the dude we played before thinks the majority of women give it. The majority? What are you talking about, bro? Is there a single example? These in the chat. I have to say it that weird way because I have the whole time and I've just gotten used to it. Folks, these people don't know anything. Be proud of yourself. Be proud of yourself. Like, we even fight against people in our own party who are doomers and grifters when they put out bullshit stuff that's not real. Like, administration's not doing mass deportation. No, the left does none of this. They accept stupid as a choice. Men can get pregnant. Police don't need guns. We don't need a border wall, abolish ICE. They accept the stupid in their movement. There is no organized effort to stop the stupid. They don't know anything. Even the people they love, like they're, liberal entertainment folks. I hate to play clips of Bill Maher 2 days in a row, but this is just forget Bill Maher for a second. Here he's going on a back and forth with Howie Mandel, who I hate to throw Guy under the bus. Actually, we do. It's kind of part of the show because I throw myself under the bus. I will in a minute. If you're not, listen, Andy, what I tell you in the job interview, if you don't have a sense of humor, like don't work here. I said, I'm sorry, like you're part, did I not say that? I was like, man, you're part of the show. Me too. I'm going to make fun of myself in a second, I promise. However, Guy plays this clip. There's Josh. Josh, I told you that too, right? I'm like, so here's Guy walking in the studio right now. He plays this clip. And he says to me, I kid you not, he's like, just so you know, this is a guy, Howie Mandel, and it's a couple years old. And everyone, all of us look at the same time. We're like, bro, you don't know who Howie Mandel is? I'm making fun of myself because I didn't know Key and Peele, right? And so I'm making, this is true. So I'm just saying everyone was like shocked. You don't have to like him, but he's been around forever. So Guy had no idea who he was, which makes this clip even funnier. Here's Bill Maher like, hey man, you think like cops are mowing down unarmed black men? Like, give me a number. Like, how many shootings happened? Oh, I don't know. So then why'd you say it? Ladies and gentlemen, stupid is a choice. Don't take the fork in the stupid road down the stupid path. Check this out.
How many people do you think the police shoot a year?
I don't know.
See? So you're talking out of your ass.
Well, tell me.
1,000. They shoot about 1,000 people a year.
Okay. And
how many of that are white people?
Tell me.
So again, we're having this discussion, but you're so sure of yourself, you don't even know the stats.
But why does that stat
because you're talking about how much you have to worry.
What's even more hilarious is Guy called his lovely wife Kim for reinforcement, and she was like, "How the hell do you not know who that guy is?" Totally blew up. He doesn't even know. Man, I'm telling you, man, if you're black, you better be careful. Cops are mowing people down left and right. Shit, I'd be scared too. Andy, right? What is Andy got a white hat on? Andy, cops are mowing down people with red bills and white hats. Andy be like, I'm taking that hat on, man. There's a real threat. There's no threat. You just made that up. You just made that up. I'm not telling you it's not a history of racism, it's not a history of Jim Crow and discrimination. I'm not telling you do stupid stuff in a traffic stop. I'm not telling you anything. I'm just telling you the guy doesn't know anything. The dude doesn't know anything, but he's making a declarative statement about what he doesn't know. I got to throw myself under the bus a little bit. This is like, but I've told you often that one of the, I've seen this clip so often that the names of annoying people, I finally found one of the clips. The reason this comes up is whenever we say like liberal Karens, I always, do we not, Jasmine? We'll get an email from some woman named Karen who will be like, well, my name's Karen. I get it. We're not talking about you. We're talking about, it's just fun. Like, smile a little bit. Here, to the Karens out there in the world who are good, decent people who are not liberal Karens, I'm with you. Whenever you put a list of the most annoying people on planet Earth with men, The name that always creeps up there is Dan. I'm throwing myself under the bus. Even worse with this clip, my middle name is John. See where John appeared? I got 2 on the list. So here's Dan throwing himself under the bus.
If you have any of these male names, you are the most annoying. This is voted on by 10,000 people. These are the male names that they thought were the most annoying for people that they knew.
I hope not in the Bongino
Daniel,
one.
number 5. You're very annoying according to 10,000 people.
Robert.
Old annoying Robert. Yes, everyone's voting you annoying, Robert.
Because he's old?
No, he's just annoying. It's getting old. It's getting a little old, Robert, being so annoying.
Chad.
No, not on the list.
Mark.
No, Mark sounds annoying, though.
Chris.
Chris, no. Chris is not annoying.
Paul.
No.
Thomas.
Thomas, yes. Thomas
Tommy
number 4.
Boy.
Yeah, very annoying. Anyone named Thomas, very annoying. I've had that experience myself.
Marty.
No, but another M, the most common M.
Michael.
Michael, yes, number 2.
Well, that's
most
just pure
annoying.
math.
What do you think number 1 is and you haven't guessed it?
Marcus.
Get ready.
No. Who is the most annoying person in your life?
John.
John, number 1. This is true. 1/3 of people who voted out of 10,000, 1/3 of the people said that a friend of their name.
I got
John
2.
is the most annoying person.
So there you go.
He's John.
To all the Karens out there, we love you. I'm talking about liberal Karens. I actually have you beat. I have 2 names on the most annoying list. Remember that guy, the comedian we use, and the New York guy in the Boston deli? He goes, how you doing? He does, how you doing? How you doing? I got 2 of them. I got 2 names on there. So there you go. I'm throwing myself. If there was a bus to throw it, I'm under it there too. There's the bus. I fell in the Kamala bus. And the bus and the wheels go round and round. All right. Because I bring this up, and I just want to put this playbook thing up there. I just want to show you too how don't fall for stupid stuff. Okay? Stupid is a choice. This thing going on in Iran is very serious, but it's just like freaking bananas how everything Trump does, they'll always take the opposite position. Trump decides to bomb Iran again. They're like, Trump's backtracking again on his plan. You can never win with these guys. Trump negotiates. Oh, he's chickening out. Trump bombs him. Guy's a warmonger. I don't even play to talk about Iran. Play to talk about stupid people. Don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. It's a choice. You don't have to take it. Okay, let's pick our comment of the day. Then we'll do our spot, and then we're going to get to a terrific interview with our good friend Vince Colonnese, the king of morning podcast. You know the rules. The Bongino 1776 Club. What are we doing? We're just giving away money because we want to. This is where producer Jim would fit right. We just want to. Once a week, every week, we're giving away $1,776 to someone watching the show. It's free. Win the comment of the day. You're in the weekly drawing. One of you wins a cash prize every week. See the official rules at Bongino.com/1776. And the comment of the day today is, why do they always have that look? Yes, I don't know. Every single time, right? You know the they we're talking about here. Why do they always have that look? Every time. I actually like nose rings. I don't really, but do you have to have with the green hair? Like, do you have to mix and match with everything? Pick one. Like, I had to stick with the tattoo. I got tattoos everywhere. I do. I think on some people, I think they look good. I do. Maybe, who knows? Maybe it's just a thing. I personally, it doesn't work for me. But I do think, and this may be a controversial Dan Bongino theorem of modern life, right? My take, I don't know how you guys feel about this, is you generally have to pick one. If you're going to do like green hair, you got to stick with like the green hair alone. If you're going to mix and match the green hair, the tattoos all over, and then the nose ring, I'm just saying, like, whatever, do your thing. You're probably going to have some HR issues in your first job interview. You pick one, you're probably okay. Small nose ring, maybe pull it off. A little twinge of green or purple in the hair, who knows? Maybe they think it's some genetic thing. You pick all three. Why do they always have that look? Why they got to mix and match? I don't know. I'm not one of them. I went with the tattoo. I wish I hadn't. I got them all over the place. I was going to try to get them off, but it's too much work. I'm like, forget it. I'm stuck at this point. All right, stay tuned for Vince. Hey, if you're a homeowner, you probably thought, what? These guys are like, where did these shows come from? Like, Josh and Andy are in the, Guy's seen them for years, and Justin, but they're like, this dude just like randomly goes off. Yes. That's what makes the show in the Bongino Army special. I have been on a roll. I had been a good week, man. Consider it's the middle of summer, and still there's 49.2 thousand people here, and at 11 o'clock Eastern time is freaking bananas. That's so crazy. So then I go home, I talk to Paula. I'm like, you believe like we filled another stadium full of people at 10 o'clock in the morning? And she's like, no, I don't. There you go. Speaking of going home, Justin's chiming in. Speaking of going home, what's your home mortgage credit card situation? Very good, Justin. It's taking over for Guy. If you were a homeowner, you probably thought, should I call American Financing to refinance and pay off this credit card debt? Then you second guess yourself because of the low mortgage rates you currently have. But listen, hey, that low rate, it's not saving you if you're drowning in credit card interest at 25% or more. It's not. It's math no one wants to face, but it's costing you thousands. Here's the truth. If you're only making minimum payments, that debt will follow you for years. That's why people are calling American Financing, because they're saving customers an average of $800 a month by using their equity to finally break free from credit card debt. You owe it to your family to see what's possible. They've been with us a long time, American Financing. It's a great company. There's no upfront fees. There's no pressure. It costs you nothing to find out what you could save every month. And if you start today, you may be able to delay 2 mortgage payments. Call American Financing today. Here's the number, 888-994-7660. That's 888-994-7660. Or visit AmericanFinancing.net/Bongino. Welcoming back to the show for his bi-weekly appearance, the King. We got to get you like one of our Burger King crowns from our studio. You know, the McGroins, they get us the Burger King crowns because this building was an old Burger King. The King of morning podcasting. You can check him out at rumble.com/Vince at 8 a.m. Eastern time every single day. He's been crushing in the spot. Vince Colonnese, thanks for spending some time with us. We appreciate it.
I love it. Have you ever figured out where in the Burger King you're sitting? Are you in the dining room right now?
So when we first looked at the building, that right to my right over there, like directly to my right, was the drive-through window. So we wanted to keep the drive-through window. You remember this, Jasmine? We wanted to keep it. And the city is steward. For some reason, we weren't allowed to keep it. I thought it would be like a cool gig, like for gimmicks. We could take a camera over there. And, you know, who knows? Maybe Trump could come in and do the McDonald's thing again. And we could have it. But they didn't let us do it. So we put like a little mini golf course out there for the guys to hang around. You've been out there. You know the drill.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a good spot. It's a good spot. We hung out there. We smoked some cigars. We chatted. It was fun.
I know you had the dog too and everything. It was great. I came in. I mean, this guy, the studio, it's been an experience. For those of you who've been here, including some of the McGroin crew, you know we're very proud of it. Paul put a lot of work into it. So listen, the hostilities in Iran have heated up again. And again, Vince, I understand and I fully appreciate and respect that there are a variety of really diverse opinions on what we should do with our military. I mean, if there's any issue we should apply, real deep analysis to, it's sending our men and women overseas to potentially die, and many have, in a conflict. So I'm really glad that people go back and forth. But what ticks me off about this, and I put this in earlier in the show, is no matter what the president does, the left-wing media and his critics will change their position. I showed this playbook thing where, they're like, well, Taco Tuesday or whatever, Trump's going to chicken out again. It's like, brother, I don't get it. Like when he does something kinetic with the military, you're pissed off, you call him a warmonger. And then when he goes back and tries to negotiate, you accuse him of taco like Trump always chickens out. Like, man, just pick a freaking position. It's hard to negotiate.
They spend all their time pretending they haven't seen him before. They intentionally suggesting that I don't even know what he's doing, and then always giving us the worst possible outcome that they can possibly imagine. And it's because they hate him. I mean, it's just Trump derangement syndrome. And as a result, you and I benefit. I think I sleep so much better at night, not worrying about what that distortion filter thinks about President Trump, but saying, hey, I've seen this guy before. The author of The Art of the Deal, the consummate deal maker, the one who's always using maximum leverage in order to navigate towards something in the middle that is a much better outcome than the status quo. That's President Trump. From the very beginning, when he was starting to navigate all of this and trying to figure out what to do, he's used both carrot and stick to maximum effectiveness. From Operation Midnight Hammer and blowing up all of the nuclear facilities to establishing a memorandum of understanding and going, hey, you know what it feels like to get the crap kicked out of you. I killed the top 2 tiers of your leadership. Now, why don't we try to make a deal? Let's see if that works. And he gives them this wonderful opportunity to become a normal country, fully anticipating that they may very well not take the opportunity. And so far, they're not taking it. So as a result, he's smacking the hell out of them again. And that means, as far as we can tell in the last, few days, They're blowing up whatever's left of their menacing little stupid, drone operations and missiles and anything they can do to disrupt the Strait of Hormuz. And he's going to once again beat them into some form of submission, maybe have them come back to the table. But here's what's different, Dan. He's the first guy who's tried this approach. There's been lots of people who've said, why don't we just nuke them, turn it into a parking lot? And there have been others who've been like, why don't we try maximum appeasement? President Trump has said, why don't we try everything and see what happens?
Yeah, I agree. And whereas I think we've been very open and candid on the show, we owe it to the audience to say, yeah, it has gone on longer, I think, than a lot of people originally anticipated. There are a lot of variables in war and outcomes people won't, if they can anticipate everything, they'd be, the Stygian witches from Clash of the Titans. And you just can't do that. However, you lift and shift and you adjust. And I think he's done that. And I think that's a pretty objective statement. I don't deny I subjectively appreciate the president and his loyalty to his people and his appreciation for the military. But objectively, yeah, maybe it has gone on a little longer than originally stated. But I think the other side can't do the same thing. And I think you're seeing it now. I played a clip earlier in the show. Was it Stephanie Ruhle, the MSNOW, saying, so President Trump is anticipated to give this speech tomorrow night, Thursday, primetime, 9 p.m. Eastern. And he has stated that he's going to mention some things about an election conspiracy by foreign actors and some new information that's surfaced. So I'll be interested to hear that. Stephanie Ruhle, I played the clip earlier in the show. It's like, we already know he's out there with this baseless evidence. You haven't even seen the evidence yet. How the hell do you know it's baseless? Like, that's the difference between guys like you and I who can give both sides and form an opinion, and dumbasses like her she's already come to the conclusion it's baseless, but she doesn't even know what she's looking at yet.
And it's also coming from a party that is perfectly comfortable with rigging elections to its own benefit, and then saying that the other side is doing it whenever it wins them legitimately. So it's like so ridiculous. I mean, Stephanie Ruhle, it reminds me, I played this morning on our program, I didn't play, I showed a tweet from David Axelrod, who is claiming that, if President Trump brings out all these political apparatchiks next to him, who so-called intel experts, I'm like, what, so-called? Wait, hold on a second. The original reporting on this, and who knows what's going to happen Thursday. I don't believe Ms. Now's report on the subject, but if this does happen, if President Trump shows up and Kash Patel's standing next to him, John Ratcliffe is standing next to him, Bill Pulte's standing next to him, these guys aren't so-called intel people. They are the intel people. They're the head of the respective agencies that handle the nation's intelligence. So that's a big deal. And he's calling them political apparatchiks, that they're going to come out and lie to the American people in order to subvert the will of the voter. And I was thinking, as I was seeing this, Dan, hold on a second. You're telling me the DNI, the head of the CIA, the head of the FBI would come out and mislead the American people to subvert the will of the voter? Has that ever happened? Oh, that's right. John Brennan, James Comey, Jim Clapper were exactly those people. So when Stephanie Ruhle is going on and on about, I can't believe they're alleging this stuff, this is precisely what the left does. And then they accuse the other side of doing it.
And Vince, remember, you just accurately kind of summed up the difference between one set of folks who were in the intel community, the Clappers, the Brennans, and the Comeys, and Patel, Ratcliffe, and Pulte right now, is that the difference in this case now, at least in Fulton County, Georgia, the investigation going on, some career agent who has no political dog in the fight at all, they'd be fired if they lie, period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They would never be allowed to testify again in court. Raised their right hand, he or she, I don't know who, whatever, and said, I swear to the facts in this case. A judge then looked at said facts and said, yes, we approve this search warrant, right? None of that was done with Comey, where they had a guy go in front of the FISA court and lie, who was called out on those said lies, right? I mean, you had Comey admit that the procedure for interviewing people over at the House was to go through the counsel's office and this other stuff, and he didn't do it. He goes, I just sent a few guys over, whatever. Yes. There's a difference between these two entities. They should be embarrassed bringing that up.
Yeah, totally. And, and look, the guys, better than anybody, but the guys that President Trump brought in, he brought them in to clean up these agencies, to make them better, to get rid of that kind of corruption and to restore faith in these institutions. That's the game here. And you'll notice that the closer the president gets to that goal, the more hysterical the left becomes about it. They just keep suggesting that look, the reason Axelrod puts out a tweet like that is because he's trying to salt the earth ahead of the midterms. He wants people to believe that if Republicans pick up strength in both the House and the Senate, that it was a rigged election. And that has the effect that he's pretending he cares about, which is to diminish the average American's faith in our elections and to whip the left even further into a TDS frenzy that hurts our country. It's a complete disaster. So I love that the president is using the power of his office to convey this message on Thursday, whatever it is, however he delivers it. I know he's going to push the Save America Act. I haven't talked to anybody about it, but I know he's going to do it because he's always pushing it, which he should. I think he should have the new Senator Graham there with him in the Oval Office. This is just my idea. I think she should be there. And he goes, hey, look, Lindsey Graham's closing conversation with me was pushing the Save America Act. His sister is now the senator from South Carolina. I have her here with me. I'm going to fight for this too. We'll see. I'll leave it to the president. He's better at the theatrics than I am. But I love this. He should stay on this. And the more the left gets driven crazy about it, the more you know he's over the target.
That's right. And I agree with you that the medicine for this problem, this lack of faith in the voting system, is the SAVE Act. I mean, it's supported by voter ID, that is, by 70-80% of people, because, it's overused term common sense, ironically. But it is just common sense. Like, you can't buy Allegra in a Walgreens, without showing ID. But you can go up and vote and determine the future of our representative democracy, our republic. It's just humiliatingly stupid to come out against it. You and I are in the content creation business. And, I love giving people behind the scenes. A lot of hosts like to pretend like, oh, I'm just so great at this. Sometimes producing a show is really hard. Slow news days. Guy, remember the Joe Rogan thing? There was like that month, 3 years ago or something? We call it the Joe Rogan thing. The only story was Spotify and Joe Rogan, Neil. And it was like, there was nothing. There was not a single story to talk about. And Guy and I we would just have to pull these shows out of our cabooses and find these. I bring that up because, although, let me just preface this by saying it is horrible for the country. Horrible for the country. And I pray, I literally pray, and I hate that word, that the socialists lose, because the country would be far worse off and we're going down a dangerous path. It has been amazing for content. Watching Talafrico, Abdul El Sayed, Graham Plattner. Horrible for the country, folks. Terrible. I wish it didn't happen. But my gosh, you put a show together, am I wrong? And it's like, you could put an hour show, you take me 4 hours, you put in 10 minutes, you're done. The whole show's done, because these idiots are so embarrassing.
Well, as you know, the secret to great content, we're going to give away there's free tips here. The secret to great content is anything that's emotionally resonant. If it gets you animated, that's what people stay locked in on. And especially stuff that ticks you off. You're like, man, they really lock in on it. And that makes a lot of sense, because fundamentally, what you're tapping into is that people want to rescue their country from these maniacs. That's really what it's about. So it kind of serves twin purposes. Yes, it's great content, but most importantly for you and for me, it's about saving our country and preventing these lunatics from having more power. And in fact, one of the, I say great just by way of our political priorities, one of the great things about a guy like Talafrico or this guy Graham, is that they are avatars. They are representatives for the rest of their party. They're just the most theatrical expressions of it. This is why they got rid of the dude in Maine. That's why they got rid of the Nazi tattoo guy. Because one, he wasn't going to win his race against Susan Collins. And two, he was going to serve as a representation for Democrats nationwide that they didn't want in front of voters. So they said, we got to give this guy the heave-ho. They called in all the moves and they got rid of him in order to do that. That's why I wouldn't be surprised if there was a similar move on Talafrico getting closer to the election if he becomes a real net drag on the Democrats nationwide. I would not be shocked if the blackmail file starts cracking open on him too. The same way it did for Eric Swalwell in the governor's race. They cracked open the blackmail file to get rid of him because they were scared there were going to be two Republicans on the ballot in November in California. This party is it's like, if you stand in their way, no matter how much you've been a loyal lickspittle for their politics, they will run you over for their own party's power.
You brought up a critical point, because what works for content works for me too. Whenever Fox calls to ask me to do a hit, an appearance on anything involving socialism, it's almost like an automatic yes if I'm available, because I'm just so passionate about this topic. Because I as I keep saying on the show, one, it's easy to talk about. Not that it's easy to talk about, and that it's so obviously a fraud. You know, I said last night on Hannity, it's like the Bio 101 experiment where every time you conduct it, the lab blows up and you're like, we'll get them next time. Well, actually you won't, because there's no lab. Like, it blew up the prior 20. We're not doing it anymore. Like, this is what happens with socialism every time. And I thought about that about a clip I played earlier in the show, where they never live by their own rules. You know, tax the rich. They are rich and they do everything to avoid taxes. Ro Khanna is worth anywhere from 30 to 300 million. Bernie Sanders, a millionaire, you know? But one thing I really find almost hilariously stupid is there was a segment earlier in the show with this congresswoman saying, hey, about DEI in medicine. And I said to the guys inside playing this clip, Vince, you know damn well, God forbid something tragic happens to you or your family and they need an emergency surgery, even like an appendectomy, you know, they'll get an infection and die. Do you really believe anyone listening, forget the conservatives, they're smart, but like even the dumb liberals listening to the show, do you really believe they're like, hey man, what did this guy say on his DEI application in medical school? Does he appreciate the cultural relevance of the? Nobody's doing that. These people are total freaking frauds.
Look, I mean, you've been very public about your health situation through the years. You've had some pretty dramatic health scares. Now, I can't imagine for a moment you would say, you know what? No, don't give me the best guy. I need to check the skin color situation here first. No, you want the best guy. Paula wants the best guy working on Dan, okay? And that's true for all of us. Never in a million years would you sit back and be like, you know what? No, I'm not going with that guy. I need some transgender albino dwarf from the middle of like some other country to work up. No, you're not looking for that. You're looking for competence. And that's in every single, like any realm that has any risk whatsoever, whether it's flying an airplane or doing open heart surgery, you just need competence. You want to survive this experience and get there safely.
And, you know, Vince, this is not some sorry, silly virtue signal at all. I swear to you, I love you guys too much in the audience. You're right. When you get cancer, and I'm good. It was stage 1. I don't want to be dramatic. Like, you know, I lymphoma, thankfully, is very treatable. And it was a long time ago, knock on wood, thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. But it never even occurred to me until you just said that. Like when I got in the room, I think the MD Anderson doctor, the radiation oncologist, was female, and she looked Arabic, but I don't really know. Like, it never even occurred to me. And you said, because it's not what all I was hearing was like, you know, do you have a history of this? Do you have a history of that? Well, let's look at that. It never even occurred to me to be like, maybe I should ask her how she feels about DEI.
No, it's the same.
So
dude, I've gone through a couple of medical things. In the last few years, I've gone through some medical things. I've been forthcoming about this too. I've got a spine condition. It's called ankylosing spondylitis. So I have a rheumatologist. My rheumatologist is a black guy. He is the best rheumatologist in the area. I didn't sign up with him because he's black. I signed up with him because he's the best rheumatologist in the area. That's what I wanted. I had a woman do. I had an inguinal hernia that I had to deal with. A friend of mine had a hernia operation, said this woman's the best. She did a great job on me. I went with her because she was the best. It wasn't because she's a chick. It wasn't because he's black. It's because I went to them on the merits. And Dan, it's just like, it's crazy that the left wants us in a world where we're judging people on irrelevant characteristics. They're agents of chaos. I call them AOCs. They're agents of chaos. And we should stop falling for this crap.
This would have disappeared. That's the great irony of, you know, persistent racism. Racism, of course, exists. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The only question is on the margin, how much of it and what we can do to combat it. However, the margin would have slipped significantly if the left would just stop making race the central focal point of every single issue. And it really is just a division tactic. They don't really care about black or Hispanic vote. They don't give a shit at all. I mean, the second Black or Hispanic voters escape the tyranny of like the awful public school system and start producing at levels of like Asian and white counterparts and SATs and stuff, I promise the left's going to throw them overboard. And you know what they're going to call them, Vince? They're going to call them like white adjacent, just like they call Asians and Jews. They're minorities. Why don't they matter? Well, they're white adjacent. Why? Because it's America. they believe in like what it's the liberals that are holding minority communities down through this crappy garbage public school system.
Who's that fake conservative consultant on The View, the Hispanic lady? I forget her name, but she was just saying this week, she attacked Marco Rubio. You're making me think of this clip. I don't watch The View, but like we see the clips,
Is
right?
it Navarro?
Anna Navarro, that's right. Anna Navarro. So Navarro, somebody brought up Marco Rubio, I think as like a presidential candidate or something. And she's like, yeah, but he doesn't stand with Hispanics because they're deporting everybody. I'm like, what kind of two-dimensional, mindless horse crap is this? I mean, like, you've got plenty of American citizens of Hispanic descent, Marco Rubio among them, one of the proudest Americans imaginable. And what? That he has common cause with illegal aliens because they broke into the country and they happen to speak the same language that he speaks as a secondary issue? It doesn't even make any sense. It's so stupid. And yet this is what passes for like legitimate, dignified conversation in these quarters. Dan, I am so glad that we are liberated from this crap. I'm so glad that the average American is awake to it. I feel like a couple of years ago, there were a lot of people who were lulled into complicity and silence on this because they didn't want to offend. You know, the left always exploits your decency. They always make it, basically they're trying to tell you, oh, you don't want to be a bad person, do you? You don't want to be a bad person. And so people stay quiet under that kind of moral blackmail. The reality is there's no reason to stay quiet anymore because we know we're right. We know they're wrong. And we should say it out loud.
And you've seen it. I mean, you and I and Haley. I mean, Haley's on. Forget Haley's got like 19 hours of screen time a day or something. Like, how the hell? She's like, you're a rookie, bro. Like, I showed her 8 hours on my phone, and she was like, ha. She sent me the ha emoticon thing or emoji. She's like, rookie numbers. Like, where they were all day. And you and I both know, like, the tide is. It's not just turned. Like, it's like a tidal wave now.
Yeah,
like,
we're
people
winning.
are just now like, yo, screw that. I'm not going to play this politically correct bullshit anymore. If it's true, I'm going to say it's true. But last question for you. So I played another clip earlier in the show. I told you these DSA people, Democrat Socialists of America, are a tragedy, but they're just amazing for content because they're so stupid and enraging. One of them suggested earlier in the show that they should bomb the diaspora community of Iranians and Cubans in Miami and LA because they're the ones who speak out basically the loudest against socialism. And it goes back to our point, like, you really believe these people are the moral high ground, tip of the spear on ethics and morality? They hate your guts. They care only about power. Oh, we care about Cubans and all this other stuff, and Marco Rubio is terrible. Well, what about the Cubans who were tortured, who escaped to the United States and are living great now and speak out against socialism? No, we should bomb those MFers too. See, they hate you. All they care about is power and you being an acquisition tool for said power.
Their only principle is power. Their only principle is power and nothing else. It's and once every American opens their eyes to it, they will throw the Democrat Party clean out of American politics. But unfortunately, there are a number of people who are still brainwashed into compliance and believing this here. You know, if this Democrat Party was sincere, they'd tell the truth about their own history and racial politics and how divisive and destructive they've been. If this party was sincere about caring about Black Americans, they would uplift people like Clarence Thomas, our finest Supreme Court justice, and talk about his wonderful accomplishments on the court. They're not for any of that. It's all fundamentally about their own power. And the second you stand in the way, they're going to Al Franken you. They're going to Eric Swalwell you. They'll Graham Plattner you. They will, what they're trying to do right now with John Fetterman, they want to primary him clean out of the party because he is serving as an impediment to their power. It is the only math they care about. It's the only principle they care about. And once you detect that, man, your eyes are wide open to every scheme they have.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Fetterman switches parties at all. I mean, I have no inside baseball on it. I've never even spoken to Fetterman, but I would not be surprised at all. That party has just completely abandoned him. Talk about a guy who's done a full 180. I mean, it's unbelievable to see someone change so quickly. I think he went into the United States Senate and couldn't believe how crazy everything was. That's my guess. Folks,
I didn't think he would come back from it. I'm sorry. I just one point on Fetterman. You know, once he had that stroke, I thought he was done for. And it's just a reminder, God works in very mysterious ways. And sometimes it's that kind of confrontation that'll shake you into some sort of realization about what it's all about.
I know. I mean, you and I were destroying this guy when he was running, all the crazy shit he was saying. And the guy does a total freaking 180. Never seen anything like Vince Colonnese. This guy here is the king of morning podcasting. Please tune in every day. 0800. It's true. You like dominate that spot. You're a top 10 conservative news show, probably number 1 in that spot.
I'm trying to get up there to keep you company, brother. I want to get up there.
You're doing a good job. I mean, I told the guys there's a compression effect going on. You've been moving up so much. I'm like, sooner or later, like I'm going to be asking Vince's audience to go check us out. No, your show's rocking it, man. I mean, it just is. To get that number of people on a live stream at 8 o'clock in the morning is just incredible. You should be very proud of the work product. It's incredible.
Thanks,
so check them out, rumble.com/Vince every day, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Join the live chat. And you can check them out nationwide, 12 to 3 Eastern, radio stations all across the country. Vince, thanks so much for joining us. I'll see you on your show next week. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan.
You got it. As I said, folks, Vince Colonnese, 8 o'clock. You can also check out Haley Karania. She is on every day at noon, the queen of scrolling. Nobody knows the interwebs better than Haley. Rumble.com/Haley at noon. Join her live chat as well. Download the free Rumble app. We really appreciate it. It costs you nothing. You can watch on your smart TV. Download the Rumble app on your smart TV. Or Justin's graphic here. He's very proud of this. You can just go to the web too, rumble.com/Bongino. Just click that follow. Give us a follow on Apple and Spotify as well. We really appreciate it, folks. Thanks so much. We will see you back here tomorrow.
Hey there, I'm Vince.
I'm Haley Karania.
Host of Vince.
Host of Scrolling with Haley.
You can always catch my show right here.
Right here on the Bongino Report.
Live, 8 a.m. Eastern, weekday mornings.
Weekdays at noon. If you miss it, no worries. The show will always be
right here
and anywhere you find podcasts. Thanks for watching.